You are watching Nimasa This Week, the authorized voice for the Nigerian maritime sector. My name is Iretiola Doyle and you are welcome. Now, our first feature this week is one that focuses on Nimasa's strategic relationship with security agencies in a quest to actualize her mandate.
Having regard to the strategic purport of the aspect of Nimasa's mandate that deals with maritime safety, it follows therefore that Nimasa must build strategic alliances with the relevant institutions that can aid the agency in realizing the objectives of that aspect of her mandate. Maritime safety encompasses a wide range of issues, including but not limited to environmental issues and security issues. While both issues are of equal importance, it would not be overstating the obvious to declare that the security issue is probably the more daunting of the two to tackle. What with issues of piracy, violent acts at sea, oil theft, and so on, it would appear that Nimasa certainly has her work cut out for her. However, through a concerted strategy of building synergies with the relevant security agencies, Nimasa has been able to confront the security challenges in our maritime domain. Quite naturally, the most obvious ally of the agency in the security sector is the Nigerian Navy. Over the years, and especially under the Director Generalship of Ziakede Patrick Akpobolo-Kemi, a robust and cordial partnership exists between the agency and the Nigerian Navy. Nothing better exemplifies the cordiality between the two bodies than the fact that the newly appointed Chief of Naval Staff visited number 4 Burma Road, Apapa, the headquarters of Nimasa, shortly after his appointment. The DG of Nimasa, Ziakede Patrick Akpobolo-Kemi, used the opportunity of the visit to put the relationship between Nimasa and the Nigerian Navy into perspective.
The Navy is a very, very important aspect of our national security. The Navy is one of the oldest institutions in Nigeria. The powers of the Navy can be well assessed if you reflect into the Constitution of Nigeria. The Navy is not just enabled through an act, but in the Constitution of Nigeria. And if anyone has read the Constitution of Nigeria very well, you know the significant and highly demanding functions of Nigeria, of the Navy. We thank the Navy seriously, at least, if for nothing else, for safeguarding our maritime territory or maritime domain.
The Chief of Naval Staff also reiterated the importance of cooperation between both organizations.
That Nimasa is the first parastatal of government that we are visiting because of the importance I accord Nimasa within the scheme of the Nigerian Navy operational mandate. Nimasa has been a strategic partner with the Nigerian Navy and will remain the same. Going forward, it is my intent that that partnership will be strengthened in all ramifications.
The issue of violent crimes at sea, as well as oil theft, dominated their discussions during the courtesy visits of the Chief of Naval Staff.
The President's mandate to me on assumption of office is very clear.
Chief of the Naval Staff, you have a responsibility to eradicate all forms of illegality in Nigerian waters. Primarily, crude oil theft, illegal bunkering, and piracy. And the Nigerian Navy and Nimasa has been in the vanguard of trying to address this abnormality, which constitutes serious threat to our economic growth and national development.
In fact, it is instructional that Nimasa is the implementing agency responsible for the activities of the Task Force on Oil Theft and Maritime Security, which draws personnel from all arms of the armed forces, including the police. The task force has been effectively deployed to securing the Lagos anchorage as well as adjoining waters of Benin Republic. The extension of the task force's mandate beyond Nigerian territorial waters is as a result of an agreement between the Nigerian government and the government of Benin Republic. It is, however, to be noted that violent crimes at sea and oil theft are not the only perils to be encountered in the maritime domain, as there is also the issue of maritime mishaps where boats or ships experience distress as a result of adverse weather conditions or mechanical faults aboard the vessel. When such occurrences arise, Nimasa has a duty to initiate search and rescue operations. The strategic relationship with the Navy is also invaluable in this regard. However, because of the vastness of the Nigerian territorial maritime domain, surveillance by air to spot distressed vessels is very critical to search and rescue operations. Nimasa acquired an helicopter for its search and rescue operations and wisely turned it over to the air arm of the Nigerian Navy to operate on her behalf. However, to effectively cover the Nigerian maritime domain by air requires much more than one helicopter. It is for this reason that Nimasa has sought to partner with the Nigerian Air Force. Not long ago, the Nimasa DG paid a courtesy call on the then Chief of Air Staff of the Nigerian Air Force on a mission to initiate a strategic alliance between both organizations.
In carrying out our functions, we can interface with the Nigerian military, the Navy, the Air Force, the Army, or whatever security agency or institutions that are in this country. And that is why we are now leveraging on our hands to now cement a very formidable relationship with the Nigerian Air Force.
The Nimasa delegation to the Office of the Chief of Air Staff met with a favorable response from the Nigerian Air Force.
I want to 100% agree with you that we have serious problems in our maritime domain. You have mentioned the environmental degradation. You have also mentioned the intractable problem of oil theft, and of course, the ever-present challenge of piracy in our maritime domain. We believe you have the right pedigree and we have every confidence that with leadership matter we will be able to surmount the current challenges that we are going through.
The formalization of the relationship between Nimasa and the Nigerian Air Force is just a matter of time, as both organizations are jointly working on producing a memorandum of understanding. It has to be noted that while Nimasa relies on its partnership with the security agencies for the performance of its functions, the agency is by no means a paramilitary organization, and this fact has oftentimes been reiterated by the DG of Nimasa.
The insinuation that we have a private army, we have a these things are not true. These are part of the campaigns by these oil thieves and these people who are engaged in organized piracy that think that this is going to expose their nefarious business. What essentially are they doing? Is the provision of platforms and electronic software and hardware possible for us to do our job, enforce cabotage law, enforce MAPO laws, enforce anti-piracy movements, enforce anti-oil theft campaigns. And we have the Navy in charge of this pure security. That is essentially what we are doing.
However, the Maritime Guard Command, which is the enforcement unit in charge of security for the agency, comprises of men from the Nigerian Army, the Nigerian Police, the Nigerian Navy, and the Nigerian Air Force. The commander of the unit is usually a senior naval officer with an office at the Nimasa headquarters in Apapa, while his men are stationed at the Nimasa Resource Center at Kirikiri. It is largely due to the dedication of this unit that violent crimes at sea have been reduced to its barest minimum within the Lagos anchorage.
By now, we should all be familiar with the wide scope of Nimasa's mandate, which is not limited to the safety and security of our maritime domain, but also extends to the crucial issue of capacity building. Recently, a batch of cadets under Nimasa's sponsorship returned from India preparatory to their proceeding to the UK for further training. In our next report, these cadets paid a courtesy call on the DG of the agency.
41 seafaring cadets who recently underwent a one-year training program at the Nimet Maritime University, India, under the auspices of the Nimasa-initiated Nigerian Seafarers Development Program (NSDP), paid a courtesy call on the management of Nimasa at the No. 4 Burma Road, Apapa headquarters of the agency. Receiving the cadets, the Director General of the agency, Mr. Patrick Ziakede Akpobolokemi, admonished the cadets to be mindful of the fact that the opportunity offered them by Nimasa was a privilege.
So there's so many Nigerian youths I know by now have got awareness of this program and are becoming enthusiastic in joining. We may not have all the monies available to train everybody. And what has happened to you is a privilege. It's not a matter of right. And that is the more reason why you must hold it with your two hands, sustain it, and benefit from it fully. Some of us here did not get this privilege you have today. I did not get any privilege of being trained by my community, by my local government area, by my state, or by the federal government. It was solely my parents that trained me. Today, it is the government that is training you. And therefore, you owe Nigeria very, very, when you graduate, you should be thinking of what you can plow back to this country, to your communities, to your states, to your local government areas, etc., etc.
The cadets who are to proceed for further training in the United Kingdom come May of this year were assured that the agency was very aware of its responsibilities towards them. The DG invited the cadets to channel all their issues directly to the agency.
When you have genuine complaints, forward it, channel it to Nimasa. We are going to give those complaints necessary attention. The president will not come down from Abuja to solve any problem for you. The minister will not come down to solve any problem for you. It is we in Nimasa that the president can use in solving your problems. So it is not even the president that will solve your problems. So when you have genuine problems that are related to your welfare, you come back to Nimasa for necessary assistance.
He went on to admonish the cadets to be of good behavior when they get to the United Kingdom.
Now you are going to Britain. The laws in Britain, in London, are also very strict. Don't be carried over. Just concentrate on your studies so that at the end of the day, your parents too will be happy that government has done so much for you.
The cadets are expected to undergo their sea time training while in the UK under an arrangement between Nimasa and some UK-based agencies. Mrs. McFoy, the head of Nimasa's NSDP desk, expatiated on the issue.
For those students in the John Moore Liverpool University that will commence their sea time training in May, provision has been made by the Regal Ship Management of Liverpool. I am ready to give the journalists more information on the provision of sea time training for these students. Now, those other 17 students who are marine engineering students in Southern Thai University, they would need sea time training by December, and the Regal Ship Management is also prepared to assist us to provide sea time for these students.
The issue of sea time training has been a challenge over the years. However, under the present leadership of Nimasa, the issue appears to have been surmounted for good.
Before the students even proceeded to the Philippines, Nimasa had also contacted an agency called Maris Marine Services. They are based in Malaysia and Indonesia. They have also taken up the responsibility of sourcing for sea time training for the students after their second year. You don't have any business going to sea before your second year. So by the time they are completing their second year, Maris Marine Services is going to provide sea time training for our students in the Philippines.
Mrs. McFoy also used the opportunity to brief the Director General on the commendable performance of some of the cadets during their time in India.
A couple of our students were giving awards. I would just quickly want to mention a couple of them. Mr. Inapubu Akabundu Ikechuku, he was given an award for general proficiency in the Ahmed University. Miss Iruaru Wele Ayanziba, she was also given an award for the best officer-like qualities, and she also had 100% attendance. She never missed class one day in Ahmed. Miss Adeboyejo Rhoda Ifetayo, she also had the Truman Award for the best academic performance. And Mr. Dunia Zachariah Zamani was also given an award for best officer-like qualities.
The cadets were also advised by the Executive Director of Maritime Safety and Shipping Development, Captain Bala Agaba, himself a veteran seafarer.
So my advice is that you go, you be dedicated, it's hard work, you are going to Britain, you are going to meet objections, you are going to meet racial discrimination, it's going to happen, whether you accept it or not, it's going to be there. But my advice is that be focused, you know why you are there. You are not there to become a white man, either you are there to prove that you are a strong black man. You are there to get a certificate. When you get it, you come back and make a living. So I wish you all the best.
One of the cadets responded on behalf of his colleagues. He expressed their gratitude to the management of Nimasa for the opportunity afforded them.
On behalf of myself and my great cadets, I would like to appreciate the federal government of Nigeria for such a great opportunity given to us. Because when this program started, we had no idea of what we're going into. As time goes on, we're able to understand one fact, that it's a great idea from the government. We spent 1 year in India. On our arrival in India last year, it was great. We did enjoy everything went on smooth. But over the time, we've been taught everything about the industry. We've been taught how to make the industry a big industry in Nigeria and how to work it out for the betterment of this country. In all, I would like to thank the management of Nimasa, most especially the NSDP department. I would like to thank our DG. He has been a father. Thank you, sir.
In keeping with her role as the apex regulatory body of the maritime sector, which is a crucial arm of the logistics and transport industry, Nimasa was invited to the investiture of the new governing council of the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport of Nigeria. Here's a report of that event.
The Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport Nigeria, CILT, on the 21st of February 2013, organized an investiture of newly elected council members and the conferment of chartered fellowship, as well as induction ceremony of new members to the institute. The event took place at the prestigious Sheraton Hotel, Ikeja, and was very well attended by stakeholders and leaders in the maritime, transport and logistics industry. Representing the Director General of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, Nimasa, at the event was the Deputy Director and Head of Public Relations of the agency, Hajia Lami Tumaka. The chairman of the occasion and also a leading member of the Institute, Air Vice Marshal M.N. Umaru, retired, used the occasion to underscore the significance of the logistics profession to national development.
Although logistics has a military origin, it has today grown into a vital planning tool and a necessary prerequisite for success in industry and commerce. So it is an important element of military power and also prosperity, and that's why you have military officers here sitting. But over the last 5 years, the Institute, I was informed, made tremendous progress locally and internationally, and indeed was getting prominent. I, as a member, also attended the international seminar in Ghana some years ago. Today's ceremony, therefore, marks another milestone in the Institute's history and will be expressed through the investiture of the recently elected President and Council members.
Among the newly invested members of the Council of the Institute is Alhaji Ibrahim Abubakar Jibril, the Deputy Director, Maritime Capacity Building at Nimasa. Mr. Francis Ehigwese, the National Executive Director of the Institute, proceeded to administer the oath of office on the new members of the Council.
That I will be faithful, and bear true allegiance to the Institute.
Hajia Lami Tumaka, who stood in for the DG of Nimasa, gave the DG's goodwill message to the Institute.
My DG said to tell you he is willing to receive the executive team on a co-sequel, whereby Nimasa will discuss further collaboration, especially regarding the maritime institutes that Nimasa is setting up in 4 universities in Nigeria. And I am told, because one of our members is a very active member, Alhaji Jibril there, is one of the Vice Presidents West, he's told me we have enough members to create a chapter in Nimasa. So we appeal to you, we call on you to come to Nimasa to make us part of this executive team.
We sought the view of Alhaji Ibrahim Abubakar Jibril on what the priorities of the newly sworn-in Executive Council of the Institute would be during the current tenure.
Currently, when this council came on board, it discovered that it is faced with the problem of funding. There's so many things that the Institute wants to implement in the industry, so many areas that it wants to assist the industry practitioners, but unfortunately there are constraints of funds. So the Institute will have to sit down again, this present ESCO, and come up with strategies on how to raise funds in order to make positive impact in the industry.
Now, we have always maintained that this is an interactive show, and it is with eagerness that we receive your questions and comments every week. This week, we have 2 very interesting comments that we'd like to share with you. Andrew YJ wrote in from Port Harcourt, and he says, I have had cause to read some very critical comments about the leadership of Nimasa in the press. However, from all indications, it is clear that such criticisms are unfounded. From what I see on this program, it is obvious that the management of Nimasa is on the right track, especially with the vigor they have been pursuing the Nigerian Seafarers Development Program. In my opinion, it is only when we have reached a critical mass in the training of qualified seafarers that the Cabotage Act will find full expression. I urge the Dynamic Director General of Nimasa, Ziakede Patrick Akpoblukemi, to ignore the naysayers and continue with his visionary leadership of the maritime sector. Jide Razak Daudu of Lekki in Lagos also wrote in, and he says, I have watched this program on a couple of occasions, and I must commend the producers for a job well done. It was on this program that I got to know of the Maritime Guard Command that has been fighting against the scourge of piracy and oil theft within the Lagos anchorage. I, however, would advise that the Maritime Guard operations be extended to the other anchorages to secure them against pirates and oil thieves. I was also pleasantly surprised to see that Nigeria is taking its big brother role seriously by helping Benin Republic secure her maritime borders. It is clear to me that the present leadership at Nimasa is focused and purpose-driven. I hope the federal government will extend the necessary support for Nimasa to continue to do a good job and even improve in its services to the maritime sector. Now, all of us here at Nimasa this week are encouraged by these comments. However, please do not fail to send them in, even if they're not complimentary. It is our duty to serve you better. As always, just send your questions, comments, or queries to the email address currently showing on your screen. Now, that is our program for this week. As always, we hope we kept you educated and informed. I'm going to be here next week, same time, same station. Until then, I'm wishing you smooth sailing and bon voyage.